o'clock. Hello. Welcome everybody. So I wanted to come on, do a Zoom tonight, inviting everybody, but mainly focusing on what OPTAVIA looks like when you are doing it under your household with others in your family, and what it means to your relationships around you, your family, your friends, your coworkers, all the good stuff that happens when you start focusing on yourself and your health. And I wanted to first introduce one of my incredible mentors and her hubby, Casey and Alan Smith. Y'all come off mute and share a little bit about what you've experienced through this journey, how long y'all been doing all this good stuff, and all the amazing things that have transpired in your life since.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
Yeah.
I didn't prep Alan really well, so we're just going to wing it. So I started program. And
she literally asked me like an hour ago.
I did literally. I kept thinking, I'm going to tell him. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to need you for a Zoom at 7:00. So I started program in May of 2017. So it's been almost 5 years, which is insane to even think about. I had a friend that I met. My coach is Leslie Begin, who you've probably seen on some of the calls. And we met at a nail salon getting our nails done and became Facebook friends. And then about 2 months later, I was basically like, what are you doing? I need to do it. I feel awful. You have 1 million children and look better than me. So I need to know what you're doing. And that's how I got here. I was what we like to refer to as a credit card thrower. I just gave her my card and I was like, I don't care. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I don't really care. And so I came home and told him I ordered this box of stuff. And he said, well, what is it? And I said, I don't know. There's a box coming on Tuesday and we'll figure it out. And I'll let him kind of go into that a little bit. But I just really did whatever Leslie told me to do. She was like, eat the fuelings, drink the water, use the books. And I said, okay, that's fine. I felt so terrible that really the only way to go was up. And I lost 36 pounds in about 20 weeks. And so towards the end of, as I was getting closer to goal, Alan does all the cooking. I do not cook. So I married Will because I am a disaster in the kitchen. And so he was doing all the lean and greens and he was losing weight, but we were just eating better. I was, getting him to drink more water, which he never drank water ever. And so as I got closer to goal weight, he said, why am I not doing this? And I said, well, I don't know. It's in the pantry. Like we got all kinds of stuff in there. So just pick something and we'll start it. And so that's how he kind of got on program. And I won't speak for him. I'll let him kind of go into that. And then I started coaching because I had a friend that I really wanted to do program with me. And Leslie really didn't give me the option. She just said, you're going to coach her. And I said, okay, because I didn't know any better. And I thought that was the next step. And it really is, but I just assumed that that's what she told me to do. That's what I was going to do. And I just started having a lot of conversations with my friends. At that time, we had a son who was 3, and I had a lot of moms who were in my same circle who were really tired. We had little kids. We were existing on coffee and whatever we could get at Smoothie King. Like we were just kind of running on empty all the time. And so that was really my first kind of, I don't want to say batch, but my first big group of clients. That's where they came from. It was moms who were just asking questions about what I was doing. I would eat fuelings everywhere. I eat bars at Target. Like I have no shame in where, if it's time to eat, I would eat. And so a lot of my friends were just noticing. And backing up a little bit, our son was born with a limb deficiency. So he has a prosthetic leg, and he was born that way. And then at about 1, we started that process with him. And so we had a lot of things happening. I was buried under a lot of that for a long time. My anxiety was really high. We just had a lot. Things were really heavy at that point in time. And so I just needed something that was simple. He was traveling a lot for work, and I just needed something to that was easy for me, but that was also, this was really my last resort. This was like my white flag. I'm going to do this program. It's not going to work. And then I'm going to be done. Well, obviously that's not true. What do you want to add?
No, I was just going to say, like, for me, I remember thinking to myself when she lost the weight initially, I think it was the summer of 2017, She had done so many things over the course of our marriage. None of them had really stuck or worked. So when she told me she wanted to do this, I was like, okay, whatever, and then it actually worked. And then I came on board and said, well, I'll try this too. I went to the gym and I think I weighed like 205 in April of 2017, which is the heaviest I've ever been. I went to the gym and I lost about 10 pounds. I got to like 191, 192. And then through the course of just eating better, just getting the food that's on program, the lean and green, and just doing that at the house, I ended up losing another 10, 12 pounds. And then finally I just caved in and said, I'm just gonna go full in and do program. And it was amazing. I mean, you go into fat burn, it feels incredible. I got down to like 172 pounds. I was in the best health of my life. We were feeling better about each other. I mean, when you feel healthy and when you have energy, a lot of the things that used to stress you out don't stress you out as much anymore. And we did have a lot of stress. I mean, when we had our son and he had one leg, prior to that, we both had a job. And then that happened, and then she had to come home. And she couldn't really go back to work because he had to have additional care and things of that nature. So for her to find this and help people, and she's really good at it, I'm really proud of her for it. But at the same time, you're in a community with a bunch of amazing people that you really find really good friendships with, and you get to go on these trips and things like that. And she makes really good money. So, I mean, it's been a game changer. I mean, she gets to stay home. Financially, it's been great, but I think the best thing has just been for our marriage, it's just been, just getting healthy together and staying that way. And then surrounding ourselves with people that we enjoy being around, the people that are trying to lift you up instead of bring you down all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of there's a lot of different roles that spouses can play. I mean, some men coach before their wives come on board. A lot of us start. And then I always say trick our husbands into program, but kind of get them rolling with us at the same time. But there's a lot of different areas that you can do. When I first started coaching, we really didn't know where this was going to go. I was just excited that I was eating brownies and I was losing weight. And then they started paying me and I was like, this is fantastic. And we really didn't know. And then it kind of got real. The income got a little bit real. And he said, okay, pay a little bit more attention to what's going on around here. And when that happened, it became one of those things where Alan was not in my business. He's not a coach, because he would be like, listen, lady, just eat. Don't complain, just eat. So
drink your water, eat your food.
Yeah, he would not be, he doesn't have that empathy piece.
No.
But he did a lot of the grunt work. And so Monday nights were always nights that I was working. It was always nights we were on Zooms. And so he always did dinner for our son. He does basketball practice because I'm usually working. So there were a lot of things that he picked up in the interim that gave me the window to work. When we travel and we're driving, he usually drives and I work. So there were little places where we found out that he was really, really helpful to me without really stepping into my business. He didn't step in until we were globals. And then I just needed a little more support and I needed a little bit of help. He has a couple of my coaches that he works with specifically, but he also has a separate job. And so there's not necessarily a perfect pattern of my coach and her husband work together. And this is all that they do. And he does a lot of my business stuff and she's my coach, but that isn't really our path. And so I think when Shannon and I were kind of talking about this, I said, that's one of the things I want to make clear with couples is that you can definitely do this business together. You can definitely strengthen each other in whatever piece that may be, because he takes a lot and did a long time, took a lot off of my plate so that I could really build this. And then as it got a little bit bigger, we kind of restructured and said, okay, where are things that you can take off of my plate? He does all of our financial stuff with our financial people and our accountants, because that to me is just white noise. And so there were a lot of things that he could really streamline and help. And I don't like help. I like to do everything independently. And so that for me was a little tough adjustment for us he was like, you need to give me this and I can take this away from you and then you can focus on this. And so, but on the whole of it, I love this program so much and I'm so passionate about it. And I love the coaching piece because it's your best accountability. I've been at goal weight, give or take 3 or 4 pounds or so, depending on the time of year, for about 4.5 years. And it's the first time in my life that I never worry about my weight. I don't really think about it a whole lot. It's given us extreme flexibility with now our son is 8. So he's kind of watched this process for 5 years with us, but we have a lot of windows where I'm present for car drop off and car pickup. And we're going to his school tomorrow for a winter fest. And so it's created a lot of flexibility for us. We only have one, we're oneers, we're one and done. But it's created a lot of flexibility for us of things that we can do for him and things that we can provide for him that honestly were things we never even thought about. So at the root of it, that's what it's created, by creating freedom for a lot of other people, because you can't do this business by yourself. And if you're not taking care of your clients well, and you're not helping support them, Shannon and I didn't know each other 5 years ago. And so it's created a lot of great friendships for us and relationships in that, but it helps you. It's a win-win. Like when you're winning and you're taking care of your clients, they're winning because they're getting healthier. And it's the same with your coaches. You're helping your coaches create a lot of flexibility, even if they haven't grasped what that might be yet. So there's not necessarily, I remember when I first started, I thought, okay, well, we're going to have to be like Leslie and Trey, and we're going to have to work this business together. We would kill each other probably. We both work from home now and we're in separate offices. And so we still kind of have to have our meetings together about our life things. But this isn't necessarily something that he's going to do full time, but this is my full time. And so I think there isn't a set schedule. There isn't a set, like, well, your husband needs to do this and you need to do this and you guys need to do this. And it's figuring out what your strengths are and being really open about what your needs are.
I would say the biggest advice I would give is everybody's different, of course, but you have to be humble. Like you have to admit to yourself that, your wife is going to be better at certain things than you are, probably because she enjoys it and you don't. And for me, she likes doing certain things that I don't. There's a lot of things that I do for her, for the business, that she doesn't want to do. Like, I don't mind doing financial stuff. I don't mind talking to CPAs. I don't mind talking to accountants. I don't mind doing website stuff or IT stuff because I work in IT. I don't mind cooking because I like to cook. I've always liked to cook, even before this. I love going to the grocery store. I'll go every day if you let me. And things like that. So it's just, understanding what it is about you that you enjoy doing, what is it about her that she enjoys doing, and just kind of, and as long as we talk a lot about the business in terms of not like details about, but we talk about where do we expect to be next month, the next month, next year, and things like that. And as long as you're communicating like that and you have like a common goal and you're working toward a common goal, then, when she comes to me and says, hey, look, I've got meetings that are going to start at 6 o'clock on Monday, and I would like to have dinner ready by 5:30. So I can go ahead and eat that and be on the call and not be hungry. I'm going to make sure dinner's ready by 5:15 or 5:30 where she can eat and be done, and things like that. Or, I know my wife, when she gets done and I get done working the day and she works and she's been on calls for 4 or 5 hours or whatever it may be, if she comes out of her office and she finds there's dishes in the sink, and my kid hasn't
tell all my secrets,
and my kid hasn't done his homework yet, or he hasn't had a bath, or any of these things right there, she feels like she's failing as a mother because she just walked out of here and the whole house is blown up.
I know, it's crazy, and that's the cool thing is when you do start programmed and do communicate better, through this process and learning, what that can look like in your household. Like when you start program, things are going to shift. You know what I mean? Things are going to change, and it can be a really beautiful thing. When that great communication is there. I love that. I mean, in fat burn, heck, we all know fat burn is like, let's talk about it. Like nothing is going behind the curtain. Well, Addie and Carlos, I was having a great call with Addie, who is a client on our team, and she is now a coach, but her husband was sharing some amazing things, and we were just talking, and he came over and kind of petted her head and came and kissed her head, and I was like, what? That is so cute. This was really meaningful to me, and it actually sparked this whole conversation here. Because my husband and I have been on program I started program 2018. He kind of did his own thing and lost a ton of weight too. He never really did strict 5 and 1. He's real active anyway, but we grew closer together, on this whole journey, as Alan and Casey are saying, like there's there's things that, you know, you're going to find that how it works into your household. So Carlos had come by and kissed Addie on her head. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this warms my heart because I saw them before. Don't start making out now, Carlos. No, I'm just kidding. But this is like amazing. This is like miracles that happen on this journey for couples. Like I see marriages improve and parenting styles improve. And that's what, you know, our mentors, Casey's coach, Leslie and Trey, they have literally poured into us on the parenting side and the marriage side of it. Because when you're coaching, you want to make sure you're, you know, you're supported and you're caring for what's going on in your home, like Alan was saying. But Carlos, I want you to come off mute and share a little bit about what you just shared it totally off the cuff, about what has changed in Addie that you've seen since she started program and started coaching too.
Well, I would say hi, everyone. This is the first time I'm doing this in a larger group. I've met Jennifer in person. Hi, Jennifer. So Addie and I have been married 12 years this year. Yeah. 2010. So May March will be a dozen years. And we have, there were a lot of things. I will say there were a few things that helped us. And this program is one of them. 5 years ago, Addie started working out kind of rigorously. She was 92, 94 pounds heavier then, you know, and she had tried other programs before, similar to what Casey mentioned. Hey, you know, let's try this program. Let's see if that'll help with this. And so we started 5 years ago, fitness, exercising with Shakira. Hi, Shakira. Saw you for a little bit there. And so we surrounded ourselves with positive people. And I think that was probably the very first thing that you start seeing is positive communities, positive people. Love you, Shakira. Yes. That was one of the things. We worked out for 3, 4, 5 times a week. Okay, vigorous working out, but Addie just was gaining weight, and it wasn't helping her mood, her this, her that, you know, her inflammations, her feelings about herself, because she was always that chubby kid growing up. And when we first met, she was close to where she is now. Okay. And I don't even think weight wise, but I don't think she's told me recently she's never been this small or this low in weight. And that's great. But one of the biggest things, once she started on this program, we sat down, we had to have a serious conversation because she had been on other programs. I said, is this going to be one of those things where you have to buy bags of powder, and we have bags of powder in our closet? And I said, if that's the kind of thing that you're getting into, I don't want to have bags of powder in the closet anymore. Now, of course, there's bags of chips and bags of other things in the closet now that the dogs get into sometimes, but that's a whole other thing.
My feelings.
Her feelings.
The dogs get to them on occasion.
Yes. So we sat down and we had a business meeting, and I said, the family's going to invest in your business. Because she wasn't working at the time. COVID happened. Her job kind of tending to 2-year-olds, that kind of went away. Okay. So she didn't have income at the time. And so it was, hey, we're going to invest in you and give you this. But on the flip side, this has got to be, it can't be a 3 months and you're done kind of deal. It's got to be you're going to stick with it. You're going to keep going. And she has. It's been over a year now. And one of the big things that I noticed very early on is that she was really investing herself in a lot of self-training. And that self-training is, you know, self-help books, self-help videos, things that helped her understand the business side of this, but it also helped her understand herself and where her role is in the family, and understanding what her voice is. And if you've ever read one of Addie's posts on Facebook, it's a very honest voice. She puts everything out there. And I'm like, I can't believe you put that out there. But yes, she puts everything out there, from the roller skating birthday to me roller skating backwards and looking terrible. We've gotten into roller skating recently. But anyway, finding her voice was one of the things that I really felt she took out of this program, because before, a lot of our marital discussions, arguments, whatever you would call them, devolved into me just talking and her not talking. And she shut down, and emotionally it was, I'm just yelling at her, you know, and it was terrible. And somehow she surrounded herself with community. She improved herself. She said, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm going to hold my own. And if I'm going to call your BS. And I said, great. I want you to call my BS when I'm out of line, when we're done. And so when I proposed to her many years ago, I said, I want a partner. And I finally found the partner that I was looking for. If she was in there, it takes a community, right? It takes community to bring a lot of that out. On top of that, and yeah, I have a short little script here because I didn't get the hour's notice.
I mean, you can see my facial expressions. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
I had more than an hour's notice. And of course, Shannon gave me a little more. I had a top 10, pared it down to 5, only got 3 to share. So the second thing, of course, with all the self-help and all the things, is that she really figured out how to set her goals and then set her priorities. Because if you've been over to the house like Jennifer, you know, Addie's got this craft room behind this curtain, and she's crafty. She's got all sorts of craft. Her mom's doing crafts. She's doing crafts. She's never done with any of her projects. They're all in all manner of, I don't know, states. We've got these things here. Don't know what that is. It's a lollipop stick. They're just in all over the place. And on top of that, now she has OPTAVIA. She's still going out to work out with her crew. And the kids are the 14, 9, and 8. And luckily they're all in relatively good health. They've had some ocular issues, but we've gotten over those at this point. Now it's on to braces and the girl going from 9 to 19 overnight, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I think setting goals and understanding her priorities. A lot of times she's on a call with you guys right here. I walk into that door, and it's funny because when COVID started, these are 3 what do I call them? Locusts. They were eating us out of house and home. Okay, so we had to be very strict with them. Breakfast is at 7, snack is at 10, lunch is at 12, snack is at 3, dinner is at 6. Those 5 times, sounds familiar? Eat 5 times, 6 times a day. These kids are doing that. Okay, of course they're not eating what the adults are eating. They could, but they're not. My oldest is 14. He's almost 6 feet tall and 70 pounds. So if you got that, he looks like he's very tall and thin. Can't put any weight on him. But anyway, I digress. She's cracking me back into the okay, and that gets me to my number 3, which is staying on course. So last year, I believe it was last year, you weren't able to attend the conferences in person. She was a coach. She wanted to do everything. Now we're going to Phoenix, going to Atlanta, doing the things that she wants to do because she really wants to get to that next level, understand how to get to that next level, and staying true to the course that we've discussed. I tell her I'm an investor in her business. I'm not. This is the first meeting I've ever done with any of you, and you know. I forgot to mention. So we have the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then in our discussions, one of the things that she says is, I need more hugs. So 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, hug time. It's like trolls, right? The ding goes off, it's hug time. So that's
what I witnessed that day. He was coming. It was a 10 o'clock meeting, or 10. Can't remember if it was 10 or 2, but it was that. And that was just, it was a miracle to see, these things happen in these marriages that are just, it's so beautiful. And to step over to another couple that they're not a coaching couple. They are an incredible on-plan couple that we met through one of my coaches. They're on our team, and they are Jeffrey and Alicia Collier. And can y'all come off mute and share a little bit about your story and how kind of all this, what has this done for you guys?
Hi, we aren't as, I don't think we're as boisterous as the rest of you guys, but because we're new to all of it. I've been on plan for 3 months. I think it's been 3 months. It was more of a, I think it was I've tried everything and nothing works. And I think I was at my wit's end. I mean, I've literally tried everything. I was active duty military for 20 years, and I got hurt and had some pretty major medical situations going on. So they forced me into retirement after 20 years. And so I went into some pretty major depression and kind of like lost my identity with a lot. Like, I've always been like a super confident person, and I didn't really know my place. Like, I'd never been a stay-at-home mom, never been a wife, never really done anything. And so I gained weight like very quickly. I gained probably about 45 pounds, pretty much overnight, it seemed like. And it was really over a course of about 1.5 years, but it seemed really fast. And then he's still active duty. So we took orders from Seattle area to Ohio.
Northwest Ohio.
And so we're in the land of gray, literally. And seasonal depression is legitimately a thing. So we came here, and my depression got worse. His job changed, and things got pretty rough here. And he had an outlet with work, and I had nothing. And so I think I became more of like the emotional eater. I'd never been that before, but we were working out.
Yeah, I would say we were both going like 60 miles per hour and almost came to a complete halt when we moved to Northwest Ohio. It was just such a change of scenery, change of pace, change of lifestyle. And it just triggered a lot of
things that we'd never dealt with. Like, as a couple, we've only been married about,
how long?
2 years, but we've been together 5 years.
5 years.
So it feels like we've been married a lot longer than what we actually have, but we hit a lot of things that we'd never dealt with here. And so our marriage actually started having some major discussions, as they've been called. So I just lost myself in a lot of it. And I lost confidence. I didn't know who I was, but I worked out all the time. I was at the gym probably 5 or 6 times a week, doing some pretty intense workouts, did keto, and he would lose weight and I would progressively gain weight, which would only make everything worse. Like, I became very resentful towards him because it was like, how the hell are you losing weight? And I'm just packing the pounds on. And so I was on Facebook one day and I saw Bobby, which is my coach, and I know her from Texas, where I'm from, and she was losing weight and she looked really, really good and she looked happy, and her husband is the smallest I've ever seen him. And I've known him since I want to say I met James and Bobby when I was like probably 12 or 13 years old. And I went to church with them, and they know my grandmother. So I have a lot of respect for them, and he looked amazing. And Ryan looks so great, and he's been through a lot in life, their son. And I messaged Bobby and asked her what they were doing, like how are you losing weight? Because I know she has fibromyalgia. I don't know, she has something where she's in pain a lot, and she's like, I'm doing great, I'm able to walk, I've lost however much weight. And then she told me about the program, and she's like, can we talk? And I was like, yes. And then we made the decision pretty much that day that I would go on program. And I don't cook at all. I despise it with everything, with every part of me. He was doing the cooking. He did all the lean and greens. And so in essence, he started losing weight, and he was supporting me that way. So one day I was like, why don't you just do it with me? And he's like, all right, let's do it. And so we had a conversation with Shannon and Bobby and the two of us, and he went on program, and he's actually, oddly enough, lost more weight than I have, but he's like down like 30,
A little over 30 pounds.
over 30
31.
pounds, 31. I'm like thinking right at 30, but we've like regained, like, I feel like we're back to where we were when we first met. Like, I'm super confident again. Like, I know who I am again. And like, I think
You're such a different person when you take off the unnecessary weight.
yeah,
Like I recently have had back procedures, and then with the weight loss that I've taken from being on program, I was actually scheduled for a third back procedure that I canceled because with the loss of weight, I'm not experiencing as major back issues as I was a year ago.
and even with my injuries, like, I'm 100% disabled through the military. But even with my fairly severe injuries, I'm able to do jujitsu 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And have been able to maintain that. I mean, I'm pretty beat up after class, but I think that's the life of a white belt. And so I have probably gone through maybe $2,000, if not more, dollars in tennis shoes over the last 2 years, trying to figure out what was wrong with my feet. I've been to podiatrist. I've had shots in my feet. They've had me in walking cast because I could not figure out what was wrong with my right foot. And since losing weight, I can wear whatever tennis shoe I want, whatever. It's like the pain in my foot is like magically gone.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the last time my foot or my knees have bothered me. Like, just taking a lot of weight off, it has been amazing. Just lifestyle change. I have a lot more patience with our 7-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I can actually
Not only physical health, but mental
health.
Like
I can
I think our relationship has strengthened. Like, the roadblocks or hurdles or whatever you want to call them that we faced when we first got here, and stuff was not what we were accustomed to, not what we expected to. We weren't exactly in the right place. And then on program, we're creatures of habit. Like, you give us a program to follow, we'll follow it. And like she said, we tried keto at one point. I can't do keto. Keto is terrible for me because I have an extreme family history of heart conditions that putting that much fat into my body is just gonna give me a heart attack. And so I actually have had the best blood pressure in my life since being on program.
Yeah. Hashtag medical disclaimer. Okay. We can't make any claims, but we know, we see it all the time as coaches. So thank you guys for sharing, all the couples. Thank you guys so much. Does anybody have any questions? I brought my husband on because he has been just an amazing support. He's been my support tool, my support animal, but it's been an incredible journey growing closer together. As I mentioned earlier, through this whole process, your relationships, not just your partner, but your parenting style changes because of that better mood, and your relationships will deepen. And because you're healing not just your gut, right? Like we're healing parts of us that we stuffed down and totally neglected. And do you want to say anything?
Dude, they want me to say anything. No, you know what's really neat on this, and Alan stole mine and then left. I too had the hour, not the hour to prep. I think I got home and she's like, all right, we're gonna call in 5 minutes. But it is amazing how you're on program. We talk a lot about whys and how your whys start to align. When Shannon first started, she started losing weight, and it became more of well, I can't be the fat one in this relationship anymore. And so I took over the cooking, not because I was passionate about cooking. I like food. I have always liked food. And so my take on it, if it's a lean and green, great, but it has to taste good. And that's kind of the role that I played in the background was, okay, I do the cooking, and now it's become a passion, and it's something I'm excited about. Something that just really touched me, and Jeffrey and Alicia, I'm super proud of you guys. I remember having a conversation in Shreveport, Louisiana with Hatch a year ago, talking about his health goals, and got introduced to Bobby and connected her with Shannon. So super cool to sit here and see how lives are affected, and just paying it forward, and seeing how people's lives are changed. You talked about being through several back procedures. Oh yeah, makes a big difference. I mean, I've had both knees worked on, both hips replaced, dodged a bullet on 3 back surgeries. And since the weight has come off and the emotional strain of everything put behind that and the inflammation, I'm a new person. That doesn't mean I'm in a hurry to go to the gym. I'm not a huge workout guy, but I can if I want to. And the further along we get in our journey, the better understanding and the closer dialed in we become with our whys and what's important to us. And it's so great to see other couples that, as you got into this, everybody kind of talked about, it used to be, we had those discussions. Let's be honest. A lot of us really didn't like each other a whole lot. And then we found, as we got into this, not only did we love each other more, we wanted to spend more time together, and we wanted to engage with each other. That intentionality that 2 years ago, if you said, be intentional about something, okay, I saw it more as, let's be premeditated. And it was hard, and it was difficult, and you had to force it. Whereas the further you get along in it, the better you understand your intentionality and the naturalness behind it. Mm-hmm. And it comes from little bits and pieces, like seeing you guys tell your story. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
you did that.
I know who they're talking
did that.
about.
And he's not a coach. He did that.
And it addresses, who was it earlier that said about surrounding yourself with the right people? One of the bits and pieces of the conversation that we had that night was, oh, you guys have tried this before and it didn't work. You guys might not have had the right coach. It might not have been the right fit. Mm-hmm. And so it's important when you get into this that you make sure you find the right fit, you engage and bring those little nuggets, because you never know when you could be on a call like this and you are touching somebody else's life down the road, because everybody on this call is going to be a mentor to somebody.
Well, you're all coaches. I mean, whether you're a parent, a worker, a coworker, I mean, we're all coaching people in our lives, right? We're coaching our kids, we're coaching our spouses, we're pouring into somebody, we're not just piles of goo that don't do anything. We find our purpose, through helping others, right? Or else what are we doing on this earth? And so I love that coaching brought that out in my life and in our lives, together now as helping others. So yeah, who has a question? Candice, and then we'll wrap it up.
Oh, look, there's a yellow hand.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The Zoom thing. So I've been on the program. It's more just a comment, but Polly's my coach. I guess I used to do CG with her. So I guess I'm going on almost 5 weeks. So for me, like you're talking about the inflammation. So I have a history of like, my body's like tic-tac-toe with injuries, I mean, it was like the hip, the back. I had plantar fasciitis in my right heel for like 2 years. I went to Rosti, which is like a chiropractor, gave them tons of money. I mean, I was going to them all the time.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I noticed right away was the inflammation going away. And like, I was having pain in my body like every day. And so for me, I was like excited about losing weight, but I was more excited about like no more inflammation. That was like, it was like, I got a whole new body. It was like a whole $1 million. I won $1 million to myself.
But that's
and then I had my gallbladder out about 2 years ago. And even after that, I was having tons of gut issues. Like no matter what I ate, I was just in so much stomach pain. And I've noticed that lately too, that like, I mean, I was living off of probably 4 to 6 ibuprofen a day and Pepto. I mean, I hated it. And like now, I mean, my plan is not to go off program because I don't want to go through that pain again. Just that, my husband, I'm trying to convince him, but he's not, I mean, he's supportive, which I love. He's, supporting in what I do, but he's just not there yet. So,
well, I know. And that's why I brought him on, because it took about 10 months and he was finally like, okay, whatever you're doing, it's not one of those weird diets you did before with the, piles of protein powder and stuff everywhere. Yeah. Or pills. So yeah, I mean, bring your husband on. This guy can have a conversation, just a real raw, like off the hip is what we call him, because he's had off the hip because he's had both hips replaced. But yeah, talk about pain. He was on, I mean, just ibuprofen and then the Tums. The Tums were
the giant Tums.
This big. So
I haven't had a Tums in
no, we
long
don't.
time.
We don't buy Tums anymore or ibuprofen. Well, sometimes ibuprofen, but there's going to be bumps and things. Tammy, what did you want to share or ask?
Not me. Sal wants to ask a question about the program.
Well, I go to the gym probably six times a week, work out a lot. I don't know if you can tell by this picture of me, but I'm a pretty big guy. And if I ate as much as she eats in a day, I would probably die.
Yeah, he's
I eat probably 5,000 calories a day, and I'm pretty stable with my weight. So my question is can you modify is there a modified plan where you can do it? Because what a person said about their feet, I have neuropathy in my feet. And I'd like for that to go away. My biggest problem is if I look at a weight, I put muscle on. So I'm scared that I'll lose some of my muscle. I want to probably lose about 20 pounds, but I'm scared that my workout's going to go down the tubes because I'll have no energy. So I just need some help with options. I mean, I know how to eat healthy. It'd be cool if we could do something similar together. I mean, I used to be a trainer. I used to be a PE teacher. I was a coach, all that stuff. It'd be cool if we did this together, but I just need some kind of option where it would be more food intake than what she's having, because there's no way that I can stick to that.
It's funny. I'm 6'7", at full weight. I was 310 pounds. And one of the biggest challenges looking at that program and what I know about food science, and basically how to manipulate your diet, I was super skeptical. But you can operate off of the 800 to 1,200 calories of a on-plan program. You don't have to.
You can,
But you can, because everything you have stored counts as those additional calories. So when you look at it, you're like, hey, my basic metabolic rate is going to be, for a guy your size, is probably going to be about 28 to 3,200 calories a day. When you look at that, you're going to have all of your stored calories, but there are several options on plan, modified plan. What's the other one called?
there's 4, 2, and 1, and there's 5, 2, and 2, and there's, I mean, we can talk more one-on-one and talk about a specific customized plan for you, but that's the cool thing about it, is it works for everybody. I mean, we have plans for breastfeeding moms and for people that are training. We have a coach on here, Aaron Gasser, who's a fitness expert, Addie as well, and Polly is a trainer. And, you know, we have a lot of really well-versed, fitness professionals here in this community that, that know how to do this for their clients. And Claudia is also a trainer. Lots of coaches. And
I don't want to look too, there's people that I haven't seen in a while, and I actually because a lot of them hadn't seen me when I was working out, and I've actually gained about 25 pounds, and all of them are like, how much weight did you lose? How much, you look so skinny. So I don't want to get like no offense to you skinny people, I don't want to get like a beanpole. That's not, my wife, first of all, will not tolerate me being skinny. She goes, she's seen pictures of me when I was young and skinny. She goes, if you look like that, we're going to get a divorce. So if you shave your beard, we're going to get a divorce. So I can't be looking skinny to save my marriage. You know what I mean? But at 270.
What did you want to say, Case?
So we get this question a lot, and Alan is a worker outer, which is not the right word, but that's the word I'm going with. And so that was probably his first concern was, how am I going to eat what you're eating if this is what my activity level is? And what Scott said is spot on. Like, you're eating the same amount because what else your body needs, it's eating from your stored fat, which is what you want. And then depending on where you want your BMI to be and because you are a larger guy, you are more muscular, things like that. That's the beauty of having the adjustments to the program that we do. Like, we have marathoners that I coach and things like that. And so there's a lot of different options. There's one of our OPTAVIA coaches, Casey Mitzel, runs a high performance fat burn Facebook group, and he's wonderful. He's a trainer, they own a gym. And so he works on that other side of, we're trying to lean you up in that area to get the visceral fat off, or the fat off. And so that then you're really focusing on the muscle development, and then we're making protein adjustments. We're adding in aminos, things like that. So there, like Shannon said, there is an adjustment that we can make to every piece based on what you need specifically. We want you first and foremost in a healthy BMI. And so sometimes I know with Alan, I was like, I want you to not work out for 3 weeks. And he was like, no. I'm like, just trust me, and let's see what we can get this weight off. And then we're going to start working on the muscle element. So there's a lot of different ways to play around with it, but that's a normal concern, especially for somebody that has a high, a bigger stature, and like, why am I eating what my 5-foot wife is eating? And it's because your body's going to take what it needs from your body, which is what we want. And that's how you get into a really effective fat burn.
Yes. Awesome. Well, you guys, it's been an hour together. This has been wonderful. We can do this regularly. If you have other friends that are interested in joining you, like other couples or other just partner, coworkers or friends or family members, you just connect them in with your coach, and we can just, discuss what plan will work for them and how this could change, their household and their family's health and legacy of health. So thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you, Jennifer, for hosting. Bye, guys.